Coming to the total maxillary osteotomy. The first one is Lefort 1 osteotomy. It was given by Martin Wasmund in 1972. Now, if you look at this diagram here, this is the side of the skull, okay? And we have done the osteotomy such a way that this segment can be free to move now. So you can either move it upward, move it downward, or move it anterior, posterior. So by this animation only, we got an idea that it is indicated in cases of vertical maxillary access, because you can push the maxilla upward to correct it, or vertical maxillary deficiency, that is this case right here where we have a lot of gingival profile visible. Basically, this is a case of vertical maxillary access, or in case of vertical maxillary deficiency, where the maxilla is vertically small, leaving an anterior open bite, or anterior posterior maxillary deficiency, so we can move the segment forward, or also in cases of facial asymmetry. Okay, so let's see the procedure. We give general anesthesia, and then LA is given, which is lidocaine 2% in the maxillary vestibule. Now, incision is given from the first molar region to the first molar region, and you can dip the incision down towards the midline so that it is easier to detect the midline during closure. Then we will reflect a mucoperiosteal flap to detect the anterior nasal floor, piriform aperture, lateral wall of maxilla, and pterygomaxillary junction. So we have to reflect it such a way that all these things are visible. Then a nasoseptal osteotome is used to separate the nasal septum from the maxilla. The bone is section 4 to 5 millimeters. Then we are going to design the osteotomy line. So osteotomy line is designed 4 to 5 millimeters above the apices of the teeth. And we have to mark the internal reference point. This internal reference point is one above the osteotomy line and one below the osteotomy line on the lateral wall of the piriform rim. And you have to measure the distance between these 2 points. Then we are going to use a rotating saw to start our osteotomy. First, we will do the lateral wall osteotomy. So the osteotomy will extend from the lateral part of the piriform rim, posteriorly across the canine fossa, and through the zygomatic maxillary crest. After this, we will start with the posterior wall osteotomy, which is done few millimeters below the lateral wall osteotomy. So if you look here, this is actually few millimeters below the lateral osteotomy line, creating a step here. Now this osteotomy has to be parallel with the occlusal plane. Now we are going for lateral nasal wall osteotomy. So osteotome is placed on the lateral nasal wall, and you have to tap posterolaterally. Tap the osteotome, and you have to tap only till 25 millimeters. Then after this, do pterygomaxillary disjunction. We will place the osteotome inferomedially. On the palatal aspect, you will place the finger of the other hand, and you have to tap the osteotome. This will lead to disjunction. And then repeat it on the opposite side as well. Then we have to down fracture the maxilla. How? So we are giving inferior pressure against the anterior portion and forward pressure against the tuberosity portion, like so. Then use disimpaction forceps like Rowe's disimpaction forceps or teaser's mobilizer for the down fracture. Then move the maxilla in the required direction. Set it in occlusion using occlusal splint, which is prefabricated. Then go for intermaxillary fixation. Now fixation is achieved by 2 mm L-shaped titanium plate, and then mucosa is sutured by using 3040 Vicryl suture. So this was the Lefort 1 osteotomy. Coming